Hello, this is Max Strottersman from Does It Matter and Why? And we're joined by Craig Kelly, who's in Georgia. How you doing, Craig?
Good morning, Max. I'm doing fine. How are you doing?
Good. I should mention it's November 3rd, 2022. So when you went down there, you expected, and I think I expected, that there'd be a danger of physical violence. But that doesn't seem to have happened, has it?
Absolutely nothing of that sort has happened to me or anywhere I have been. But you're entirely correct. When I went down here, I mean, everyone I knew and myself expected people with Confederate flags and guns to be loitering by the polling places. And that just hasn't happened. And it's a good thing that it hasn't happened. And in the training, we were told to be happy if it's dull, which this is arguably dull. But it's certainly a surprise.
So, I mean, it can still happen, obviously, on Tuesday.
It can
but
happen
assuming it
Tuesday, Max. There's going to be, right now, there are 12, I believe, polling places in Cobb County, for example. They're regional polling places. There are going to be 147, maybe, on Tuesday. So it's difficult for me to think how you would actually make that happen on a substantial scale. I wouldn't be surprised if there's the occasional, Republican nut job out there with some sort of attempted intimidation. But the people I've seen working the polls, the police, law enforcement who are here, security and whatnot, they're not going to put up with that BS.
So then is this still an issue?
I don't think, and I have a narrow dash that I don't think it's an issue for the polling, for the actual voting. I think Republicans would love to have made it an issue. That's where they win elections, is through intimidation and screwing with the votes and whatnot. And we saw that with everything from the insurrection on January 6th, the storming of the Capitol, the party calling it legitimate political discourse, even though it gets police officers and other members of the public killed. We saw that with the attempted kidnapping of Governor Whitmore, I think it was, from Michigan. We saw that with the assault on Paul Pelosi. This is a party of election and political-based violence. They just haven't figured out how to do that here at the polls in Cobb County yet. I think what they are going to try and do is find the pinch points, and the next pinch point is when you actually count the ballots. So I would not be surprised if we see some sort of intimidation, maybe even violence, because this is what that party does, maybe even violence on Tuesday and then afterwards as the various votes get counted. And that'll take a while.
So tell me, what is going on with the count?
So what happens is people come in for, now it's going to be almost 3 weeks. It started 2 weeks ago Monday. They come in and cast their early votes. And in Cobb County, those ballots, the paper ballots that are cast, are picked up and taken to a storage center. And in other places, are left in the machines. And each machine, each scanner, has 2 memory cards, regular memory card and a backup memory card. And those memory cards have all the information about the ballots that were cast. So the memory cards will get run starting Tuesday after the polls close. They'll take those memory cards down to, first they'll post the numbers at the poll centers, and then they take the memory cards down to the main election office, along with all of the papers and all of the machinery and so forth, to make sure that there's good custody in case any investigations need to happen afterwards. And they start the counting. And the electronic count happens really quickly, just like in Cambridge. You run numbers, and an hour and a half later, you start getting returns, and then 3 hours later, you're like, okay, we've got all the, or maybe 5, however long it takes people to run these things in. You've got all the electronic data, but not every vote that has been cast will have been counted by them, because we have 2 types of votes that are put aside. We have the mail-in votes, and there's going to be tens of thousands of mail-in votes, that what we in Massachusetts call absentees, and we've got provisional votes, and those are also votes that, quote, need to get cured. People that came in maybe with a questionable ID and maybe had some registration issues, they still get to vote, but that vote's not counted until they can cure it. And it could be as simple as emailing a photocopy of your valid ID into the election office. But until that vote is cured, the ballot can't be counted. And so they call the Friday after election Provisional Friday, because that's when they run all the provisional ballots. So you won't really have a solid final count until that Friday. But all that is going to happen at a specified place. And in the case of Fulton, for example, it's in the Mercedes-Benz Center. And last time around, there were hundreds of Republicans frothing at the mouth, jeering, trying to intimidate the people that were handling the count. But the workers all came in through the tunnel, so it was a little bit difficult for these insurgents or whatever they were to have an impact. And that'll be the same thing here in Cobb. They'll have, I assume, some sort of police line around the building. Anyone can come in and see the count, but if the room gets too full, then only those of us with proper badges will be able to come in and observe it. And that's what I'll be doing this weekend and also after the election.
All right, well, great. I mean, thanks for the update, and hopefully we'll touch base again tomorrow.
All right, sounds good. See you, Maxie.
See ya.
Wow, you shut me down quick, Max.